Hey friends, this is the story of the most intense house cleansing I have ever experienced. So around this time last year, my dad was contacted by one of his work clients, a super level-headed businessman who was claiming that his wife was being attacked by a demon. Everything had started about 3 months prior. They were on vacation in Antarctica and decided to go on a hike. Midway through the hike, his wife was thrown down the hill. He explains it as if an invisible fishing line just came out of the sky, literally lifted her up and threw her down. She ended up having to be airlifted out of the area because she was basically inaccessible otherwise. She was in excruciating pain. She had a severely broken wrist that needed surgery. She had some broken ribs. I don't remember the details too much, but I imagine several bumps and bruises and scrapes. They honestly didn't think she was going to make it due to how much pain she was in. It was very serious and very unexplainable. Once they returned home, things kind of started to progress. They started to hear a lot of banging, scratching, and growling throughout their house. Their dog even started reacting to this entity by growling and barking at seemingly nothing. His wife began to have really severe, persistent stomach cramping. Shortly after this all kind of started to happen, his wife was home and decided to check the mail, and her car ran her over. There was nobody in the car was not on, there was no reason for it to back up and turn directly in her direction. It made no sense. A few weeks after this, they had come home and found their dog had passed away. The vet had come to the conclusion that he had had a seizure, but he was a super healthy dog and they couldn't find an explanation as to what could have caused this. About a month later, his brother, who was part of a Bible study group, was meeting with the group and asked everybody to pray for the family because they had a demon attacking them. A couple days after, one of the guys from the Bible study group was riding his bike home, and it was reported that his bike swerved suddenly, he hit a curb, and he died immediately due to the impact of his fall. It was at this point that they decided to contact us to figure out what was going on. Being told all of this was very unsettling. But this case, more than anything, taught me how powerful love and compassion are. We found that the demon was actually the spirit of a little girl, about 8 or 9 years old. She was abused and murdered by her stepdad and mother. And she obviously carried a lot of trauma from this, which prevented her from passing on. She was looking for a mother figure, someone to love her and protect her and care for her, which is how she latched onto his wife. Specifically, she latched onto his wife's womb, which is where these persistent stomach pains were coming from. When I first saw the girl, she came to me as this whirling black electric cloud of just chaos. She kept reliving her life's experiences and basically manifested her fear of her stepdad into this black mass that would attack her. Because she was hiding in his wife is the one that ultimately faced the physical consequences of those attacks. This is what caused both the hiking and the car incidents. The family was obviously scared, which made the little girl feel misunderstood and ignored, so she retaliated. This resulted in the dog and his brother's friend being targeted. Unfortunately, because the girl had not known anything else besides pain and suffering, she did not know how to express her longing for help. In her mind, the only way she could get attention was through some kind of physical expression of this anger and frustration. It takes a lot of energy for an entity to affect us physically, so the fact that these attacks were so physical only shows how much this fear and anger completely exploded out of proportion. She had no grasp and no control of her situation. She was just stuck in this state of pure, raw, constant trauma. As soon as all of this kind of downloaded, I sent the little girl a little daisy out of Reiki energy to keep her preoccupied and calm and to begin the steps of passing her on. I also encased her in this little bubble to basically prevent her from doing anything other than sitting there and staring at the flower. The second we acknowledged her, her energy immediately shifted. The chaos completely dissipated and she became a little girl, happy, playing, humming. It was incredibly eye-opening as to how such a little being could create so much chaos and darkness due to neglect, abuse, and fear. Dark energies, just like bad people, are just often misunderstood and suffering from the effects and traumas of their journey. To borrow from psychology, a lot of our behaviors and habits stem from childhood. So if we are raised in a very unbalanced, toxic household, we don't usually have the necessary tools to lead a healthy life, and we have often acquired toxic habits. Unless we take the time to reflect and heal our wounds, these patterns will only persist and magnify as we face life's complexities. In more serious cases, like that of the little girl, these wounds don't just magically disappear when they face death, but end up weighing these spirits down, preventing them from passing on. By acknowledging this concept and approaching all negative beings, both physical and energetic, from a place of love and compassion, these negative patterns are given the opportunity to cease, and positive ones are given the opportunity to flourish in their place. This doesn't excuse their actions by any means, but it allows us all to evolve and progress from a healthy state instead of remaining stuck in this perpetual toxic cycle. So to send it off, it usually just takes a perspective shift to see that something that seems to be a huge black cloud is actually rooted in something much smaller. And in those cases, a little bit of love goes a long way. Also, as a side note, we have free will, and everything needs to respect that. If unwanted energy finds its way to your space, all you have to do is demand it leave you and your space alone. It's literally that simple. With more intense energies, you may have to repeat yourself a couple times, but you are always in control. The second you let fear take over, you are giving your power to the unwanted energy. So stand your ground, trust your power, and have a beautiful day.